I turned off these two ads.
Okay.
And question number one, am I turning them off correctly? It says that, oh, let me move you over here. It says that, where am I at? Right here. My impressions at 54, 5, 1, and 1. Well, this morning when I turned it off, I had like what 24 impressions and impressions of the first one and 4 of the second one and 0 of this one of the third one and 1 of this. So I'm questioning. I turned these off. Did I actually not turn them off?
Yeah.
And
So
that's question number one. And then I
okay.
would like for you to just kind of help me understand what my columns are all about and how I can read those and understand them one more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've gone over them, but
Absolutely. All right.
okay.
So first off, on the top right corner of your screen, it says today and it says June 5th. Let's click on that and change that to maximum. All right. And the reason why we did that is just so we have the entire ad spend that went towards this campaign. And so we can look at all of the data instead of just one day of data. Okay. Okay. So first off, for your columns. Now, if you just move your mouse up, there's a button that says performance and clicks. Okay, so I want to make sure this is relevant for everybody. So again, what we've just done is the time frame. I always start looking at maximum time frame, so I can see all of the data, and then it's okay. Then you can look at smaller time frames as well, but it's a good practice just to start at maximum time frame always. So that's number one. The second part is the data that you're looking at. So I would recommend that you, as well as everyone watching, is to create your own custom columns. And we'll do this right now together. So yep, right there, customize columns. Okay. And you can click X. So on the right-hand side, it has all these columns, and you can click X on all of them, and you can remove all of them.
Click X.
Yeah, just click XXX and just delete all of these. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah, delete all of them. That's good.
Okay.
Cool. Now we can all write this down here. So the first one we can put in date created. And just type in date created and it'll pop up. Date.
Oh, date. Okay.
And you'll see it right there and just check the box. That's number one. Second one, put in budget. Perfect. You can check that one. Third one is put in amount. Amount spent. Perfect. Okay. Next one, put in CPM. Perfect. Next one, put in CTR. And then click on the CTR all, and then the one below it, CTR link click you. Perfect. That's it. And then click on, type in link and get link clicks. And then also go down and click CPC, cost per link click. No. Keep the CTR. Yeah, okay. Good. And then right there as well. Perfect. Okay. And then the next one you can type in is landing page, or just put in land. There you go. And then click total. And then click cost. There you go. And then click, type in lead. And then type in total and then cost. Okay. And then type in frequency. So frequency. There you go. And there you go. Perfect. And then just go, yeah, so that's good. And then go over and then where it says leads, actually, that's fine. You can leave it the way it is. So on the bottom left, it says save as a column preset. So click that and then just give it a name. Dan, June 2024. Perfect. And then click apply. So now you'll see that if you click on where it says Tutor 6.5, that's now saved. And every time you can go back to this and you can use these columns. So these are the data that you want to be looking at. So that's
Okay.
step two. So now this is the data. So now let's look at what the data tells us. So now scroll all the way to the left so we can see all the data on the left. Perfect. Okay. Sounds good. So what this tells, so first off, which image spent the most money?
By the first image.
Perfect. So that one spent $18. All right.
Mhm.
Now, that's probably the only, so Facebook has favored this one for some reason, okay? And what this tells us, if we go over to the CPM, so this ad spent $18 and Facebook charged us $76 to deliver, okay? Facebook
So
charges
I'm
you,
sorry, Richard, can you help me understand what that said? So the ad spent $18, but Facebook charged us 76. It
sorry, let me
is,
clarify.
okay,
They charge you $76 per 1,000 impressions. So you never reached 1,000 impressions, but if you were to reach 1,000 impressions, the total would
oh,
have been about $76.
for 1,000 impressions. Okay, I got you there.
Exactly. So
Got
this
you.
is basically telling you how expensive or how cheap it is to deliver this ad to this audience at this exact moment.
Okay.
Okay. So if you can compare this, that was actually that ad for some reason was the most expensive. Facebook charged you the most to deliver that ad. Okay. Now that's not like there's a lot to that. Okay. But that's what that means for now. We can come back and look at that a bit later. Okay. It's a tough one to manipulate, but just so you have a awareness, it just tells you how expensive it is to deliver. Okay.
Mhm.
Then the next one over is the CTR all. So what does the CTR all tell you?
That tells me the impressions per click. That tells me that 5.67 people um, um, actually clicked at my or stopped at my post.
Exactly. They clicked and engaged in some way. They did something. Basically, it represents an engagement rate. You managed to stop somebody from scrolling and have them pay attention to your post. Okay. Uh, as some like standard benchmarks, if you're above a 3%, that's a very high stop rate. Okay. 3% is like very healthy. If you're below that, yeah. So that's a good starting point. So above 5, that's very healthy. Okay.
Good.
Now, we'll skip over link clicks for just a moment, but your CTR link click through was 2.8%. Okay. Which was also very healthy. Now, what makes it healthy? What makes it healthy, Dan, is the relationship. It's the ratio of how many people click through from how many people engaged. So the way we would do that is we would go 2.8 divided by 5.6. And that gives you the percentage of people who actually clicked through.
So that's a 0.5%.
Perfect. So what does that tell you?
Well, you tell me it's healthy, and that tells me that 0.5% people are clicking through, going down to the end.
What, not just people, which people?
Interested people.
Exactly. Of the people who stopped and paid attention to your ad,
Mhm.
half ended up clicking through, which tells me that your ad copy, they stopped, they were interested in your ad copy was more of what they wanted to read and more of what they were interested in, which led them to clicking through to your website. So that tells me that whatever stopped them, your ad copy, the primary text was connected and it was relevant. Okay.
Okay.
Leaving you with a $2.68 cost per click. Okay. Now, do you have any, do you know how many clicks it takes? Do you have existing data? I think you just said you just launched this. And so you
Correct.
don't
Yes. Yeah,
know
I don't know.
how many link clicks to get a
Correct.
lead.
Nothing existing. Right.
Okay,
Right. Hey, that
cool.
was a win. Yes, for a
That's a
win. That
win.
was a win.
Absolutely. That's a huge
That's
win.
right.
That's an absolute huge win. Okay. So before you have any data, it's the best thing you can do is just start with just average industry benchmarks. Okay. And typically like 10% conversion is just like a very conservative industry benchmark. I'm not making that number up. That's like a real number. So 10%. So which tells us that if your ad is able to meet industry standards of conversion rates, okay, then at $2, that'll eventually turn into a $20 lead.
At 10%.
Right, exactly. 10% conversion turns into like a 20 or a $26 lead,
So, okay,
right?
okay.
So
What, okay, what is that, Richard? Is that 268 times divided by 10
it
times
would
point oh
be
one?
268 divided by 0.1. So
Point
essentially
one.
you're doing 268 times 10.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, because you're saying that one lead will come from 10 link clicks, giving you a 10% conversion.
okay.
For anyone who wasn't good at math in school, ads will basically force you to get good at math. It was never my strong suit, but
Okay,
you
right,
just end up working with numbers every single day.
right.
So that's what these numbers tell you.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Now, the next question you would need to ask yourself is, what lead cost do you need to back out into a sale? Okay. And an average lead, like, so let's just say if you said of the leads, 10% would then turn into a BLC buyer. Okay. Which means that at a $26 lead, if 10% of those turn into a BLC buyer, now you're looking at like about $260 for a BLC buyer.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, okay.
Again, these are just averages. Maybe yours
Sure.
convert higher, maybe they convert, but it gives you a starting point to see if this has the potential to be a feasible ad.
And how do I get a lead? How do I see a lead? Am I gonna get an email saying that, hey, Dan, you got a webinar registration or?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
that I would confirm that with the affiliate support, but from what I've heard from everyone in the community, you will get an email saying that you have generated a lead, and you also might have like an affiliate dashboard that will also keep track of your leads. And it should actually also show up in Facebook. As long as your Metapixel code has been installed into your website, then if you scroll to the right, it will actually show that people have um, become a lead. You'll see it in that column there.
okay,
Okay.
okay. And
Now,
I want to make sure my metapixel is correct.
yeah, so you would want to make sure the Metapixel is correct. Now, a bit of one red flag that I would pay attention to is that the fact that you've had 8 link clicks, but no landing page views.
Okay,
That would be like a red flag that the metapixel is not set up correctly, because essentially what this tells us is that 8 people clicked from your ad wanting to go to your website. So your link click and your landing page view should basically match. In a perfect world, they match 100%. They
oh,
tend to match like 80%. So
oh,
by 8
okay,
link clicks, you should have definitely had a few landing page views. And the fact that
okay.
nothing is showing up tells me that there's likely something wrong with your tracking.
So my landing page view is my page, my download here, my go here.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
then once people land on your landing page, like the download the PDF, then a percentage of those people who land on that landing page will also then go on and download the PDF, and that will be your lead.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. I don't think I have anything else for you other than I need to make sure I need to go back and just kind of address my landing page, my download
Yeah.
inside
But
my copy.
it need to address, I would check the tracking first. Yeah. I think that's what you were referring to. Yeah.
To the pixel. right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. But overall, like I know I walked you through like all the nitty-gritty details and stuff. A
Mhm.
$2.68 link click is very good. I think this is a very healthy ad so far. What you would, yeah. So it's starting off in the right page.
Good.
To answer your third question of should you turn off the bottom two, I wouldn't have turned off the bottom two because they haven't spent enough money to know if they were a winner or a loser. And
Mhm.
so they're really inconclusive. And so
Mhm.
for that reason, I would have kept those on.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And I am correct when I say I turned them off, right?
Yes, you
Like
did
I,
turn them off.
yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, as long as that blue toggle on the left is
Mhm.
switched off, that's off. And then you can all
Okay.
yeah, so you're right with that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Do you want me to take a quick look at what your ad was?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, go ahead and just click on the box and just click preview. Will you be prepared before you clock out? Okay, good. So this is speaking to like retirement.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, sounds good. Punch that time clock one last time. Okay, I like it. Did you know for Forbes magazine, 80% of marketers are using affiliate marketing programs? Okay, cool.
I don't know if you can read that.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, the data is telling us that this messaging is resonating with your audience here. Okay. So that's a good thing. If I could offer you one suggestion, the way I'm reading this, just so you can kind of read it or you can kind of train your eyes to see, what I see. So you're talking about your image is talking about essentially being prepared for retirement. Okay. So that's one message. But then in your very next on your hook, it's talking about immediately about affiliate marketing programs. And those two are not necessarily the same. And so what I think you can use to improve this is that hook needs to bridge into it. You've stopped them talking about retirement. That hook should also be the next step of retirement.
Okay.
All right. Something like, hey, are you preparing to clock out for retirement? Right. You might say, an example, a growing trend of people about to retire and being prepared for retirement is this industry called affiliate marketing. So now you've bridged it from where you stopped them into affiliate marketing.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Just a recommendation.
Sure.
But
Sure.
again, your
Sure.
data also says that it's working well, but that's something
Good.
to
Good.
consider.
Good. Good. Good.
Okay.
Cool.
I'll also give you one more piece. If you want to open it up one more time. And again, these are just
Oh, wrong one.
recommendations without a ton of data. So take it with a grain of salt, but these are just general best practices.
Mhm.
Okay. If you click this see more button, just
Uh,
at the very top on your post, so we can expand it so I can see all the writing.
oh, yes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So your writing it has how many lines? One, two, three, four, five,
Oh,
six lines on the
yes.
first
Uh-huh.
paragraph, and then two,
Okay.
four, five, and then two, four,
Mhm.
6, 7. So it's kind of like it feels like reading an essay. It can feel quite heavy,
Gotcha. All right.
right? So how can we break this up?
Well, I could break it up by separating the sentences.
Exactly.
That was part of your extra instruction today also. That's why I'm saying it was really good. I really liked
Okay.
your conversation today. Right.
Cool. Yeah. And
I'm proud
so
of it.
the idea with that is that as you break it up, you're trying to make it just more like a little bit more slippery. You want people to slip from one sentence to the next sentence to the next sentence. It's kind of like your favorite book. What makes your favorite book the way it is? Part
Gotcha.
of it might be the size of the writing, it might be in the length of the sentences. It's these little sort of stylistic things that makes the ad copy a bit easier to go through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Very
cool.
good. Very good.
Also, along with math, if you were never really, if you didn't like writing or English class in high school, this will also force you into that as well.
Fortunately for me, the
Uh,
writing isn't all that bad, but
Perfect. Then you're already
you know,
ahead of the game, Dan.
yeah, I married a sugar mama, so she knows her math real well. So
That's great. Cool.
thank
Well, I
you.
hope that helps a little bit. Yeah, you're
All
welcome.
right.
Cool. I'm just gonna check some of the chats here, and then I'm gonna bring out Chris. I'm just gonna check the chats. So thanks for asking your question. It was a whole nother lesson. Absolutely. Okay. Your lead gen goes anywhere you set up your funnel. Okay. Using his information, can we see where his error is? Ryan, let me know if I answered your question or if you can be a bit more specific and I can go back to that. Evelyn, how do you assure that there is not a runaway cost based on what Facebook is charging? Evelyn, can you also clarify that either in the chat box or raising your hand? How much money should be spent on a split test? Very good step by step. Cool. Thank you, Larry. So I'm just going to address Jenny's question. And again, for Evelyn and Ryan, if you want to clarify it either with your hand or in the chat box. I'm just going to touch on Jenny's question once here. We did cover it in past weeks, but honestly, it's something that I think is worth touching on every single week. Where did we do it? Okay. So it was right here. It was this part right here. Now, I'm going to go through this a little bit faster than I did in the past, but how much money should be spent on a split test? Okay. This all depends on your conversion rates and what costs your business needs. Okay. The example we gave in the past was your business needs your business can only spend $1,000 on a new customer. That was the example we gave. Okay. And we know that your business, again, these are hypothetical numbers, but these are the numbers you need in order to answer this question with data. Okay. So if your business needs $1,000 maximum spend to acquire a new customer, and 30% of the people who attend a webinar convert into a new customer, that means you can only afford to pay $333 at a 30% conversion rate to give you, what's that, like a $1,000 buyer. Okay. So if you know that you need a $1,000 buyer, and in order to get a 30% conversion rate, you're going to need a $333 webinar person who shows up. Okay. And we know that 50% of the people show up and attend the BLC. Then that means 50% of 333 is 166. So that means we know we can only afford to pay $166 with a 50% conversion rate that will give us a $333 webinar attendee, where 30% of those people will convert, giving me $1,000 customer acquisition. Okay. Now we know that to get a BLC purchase, 20% of the BLC leads turn into a purchase. So if I know 20% of my leads turn into a purchase, then 20% of 166 gives me 33. So that means I cannot pay more than $33 for a BLC lead, which converts at 20% to give me $166. Okay. And I know that in order to get a $33 BLC lead, I think we said 50%. So 50% of leads who download the PDF register for BLC, meaning we can really only pay $16 for a lead where 50% convert, giving me a $33 BLC. Okay. And then we know that 30% of our web visitors who visit our website from our ad turn into a lead. So if I want a $16 lead where 30% of them convert, I can only afford to spend $4.80 to get a website visitor. Okay. And if I know that of the link clicks from my ad, anyone who clicks the link on my ad, about 90% of those will end up as a website visitor. That means that 90% of 480 is $4.30. So now I know my metrics, that I need a $4.30 link click in order to turn into a $4.80 lead, or sorry, $4.80 website visitor, where 30% convert, giving me a $16 lead, where 50% convert into a partial BLC, where 20% convert into a BLC purchase, where 50% of those purchases show up for giving me a $333 attendee. And of the people who attend, 30% convert, giving me a $1,000 CPA. So now I know what I can afford to spend. Now your question is, how much should you spend on a split test? You should really spend 2 to 3x your target cost for each stage. Okay. Which means that the first stage that your ad has to pass through is your link clicks. Okay. So if your ad spends, we'll just call it, for easy numbers, we'll say 3x this number. So if your ad spends $12, okay, is your cost per click under your target of $4.30? Okay. If it's under your target, then you can allow it to keep spending. Okay. Then you need to get to website visitors. If you can only afford $4.80 times 3, so it'd be very similar. It'd be about, let's call that $5. It'd be about $15. So if your ad has spent $15, right, is your website visitor cost under your target, under $4.80? Okay. If it is, then you can let it continue to spend. And now you're looking for leads. If you're looking for a $16 lead, how much is the maximum you should spend on an ad to get a $16 lead?